offensive lineman, Dante Scarnecchia, and the Patriots is where it all started for him. He's now doing radio in San Diego, and we get to bring him up a few more times here before the end of the season, and we love him. Rich Orenberger, let's bring him on. Last week made the bold prediction of Tennessee over Baltimore. It's funny. There's a thing called, Warren Buffett, the investor, talks about this. Inner scoreboard and outer scoreboard. A lot of guys talk crap. You know, guys are crap talkers.
Oh, yeah.
And Warren Buffett says, if you've got a strong inner scoreboard, you don't care what people think of you. Nick Saban talks about this. So Baltimore's outer scoreboard was, we've all in, baby. And then they got into the game and got down, and they panicked a little.
Right.
Kansas City says, we don't care what people think about us. They got down, and their inner scoreboard was, what do we care? I thought, let's go back to your prediction. I think Baltimore had some deep concerns about Lamar that they didn't advertise, and the minute they got down, the inner scoreboard was crap. Kansas City's inner scoreboard was, we have zero concerns. So go back to your predictions. Were you surprised that Baltimore, it felt a little panicky even in the first half?
I wasn't surprised because really what you saw was the light of day. They had a couple of corners that still need sweeping, and you can't address those corners mid-season. Lamar Jackson, for everything that he is, there are still some limitations to his game, and it's not fair to say, and he can't fix them, because he probably will. He's that talented. But there still are some limitations to his game. And also, he's still young. So some of those throws over the middle, they sail on him because, you know, you get nervous and you put a little too much pepper. And you know, and I think the game plan really stuck to what they did well all season long, which was trying to highlight his running ability and start with the run game and then use his throwing as a complement, but they got behind too fast. And then all of a sudden the light of day is shining its light as bright as it possibly can on all of these corners that still had a couple cobwebs. And that's what you saw. You saw an offensive team start to wilt under the pressure of, boy, we now have to play from behind against a very physical football team, and they didn't have enough. They didn't have enough to get it done against the Titans last week.
You know, we are in the business. I talk a lot of football. NFL's about 62% of my show, and I usually talk about quarterbacks. And most of the great quarterbacks I love, and most of the guys that are bad I don't. I would say the exception to it is I've been more critical of Aaron Rodgers than other people. I just talked about his road record, which is, for his contemporaries, is bizarrely average. I have noticed something else with Aaron, and I had kind of a theory this week. Aaron's gotten more safe over the last 4 to 5 years. He's leading the league in throwaways. He now will throw to nobody not named Devontae Adams. And I do not think you can beat great teams like San Francisco or Kansas City playing it safe. You got to take some shots. And he is certainly going to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer.
No doubt.
He's on Green Bay's Mount Rushmore. He's got the State Farm commercials, $250 million in net worth or whatever it is. Aaron, you got to take some big swings this weekend. Garoppolo's, I think, 3-0 with 2 or more picks this year. When you have a defense as good as, he doesn't have the legacy, but when you have a defense like Jimmy does, you got to take some big cuts. And this is one of my things about Aaron. I think in the last 4 or 5 years, it's like he's protecting something. He's gotten a little too safe for me. Is that fair?
Is it fair? Yeah, look, I mean, young men play chicken, right? Where you stare down an opponent and you say, I'm not blinking, are you? As you get older, I mean, especially at positions where if you persevere, if you stay durable, your team has a better chance. It's actually better, it's smarter to play it safer, to throw some more of those balls away, to take the slide as opposed to taking the hit. And so Aaron Rodgers, like many of the great quarterbacks who've lasted in this league beyond their mid-30s, is starting to acquiesce to that thought process. I need to preserve myself for our team to have the best chance. So, yeah, it's fair what you're saying, but at the same token, this is the maturity of the position. This is what all of these guys have to learn. In fact, post-game, after the the Packers-Ravens game, he said to Lamar Jackson, and maybe mix in some sliding a little bit. Because he's forecasting for Lamar. He's saying, this is what I've learned. I want you to inherit that too. I want you to understand what you're up against, because you could be great for a long time. But back to Aaron, yeah, I mean, in this game especially, it may have to be about him, because that is a physical, rough defense. That's a rough group on the defensive side. Robert Saleh is leading for the 49ers. So I think you're going to have to take some chunks in order to get the win.
I'm a huge fan of Andy Reid, and I think mostly with Jeff Garcia-level quarterbacks, McNabb, good players, Alex Smith, good players.
Sure.
Not Hall of Famers, but good, respectable guys. You know, he lost to Kurt Warner twice, and he lost to Aaron Rodgers, the Super Bowl team, and he lost to Brady multiple times. And you start looking at all these guys that he faced, and you're like, well, yeah, he lost to the Packer team with Aaron Rodgers that was on fire, and Breeze in New Orleans, and Kurt Warner, and the best defense, the Tampa Bay defense.
Oh, yeah.
And the greatest show on turf, and Andrew Luck, and you're like, okay, I can live with this. He had a couple of ugly losses, but he almost always had a quarterback deficit in Philly and Kansas City. Now he doesn't. So this is the first time this weekend. I'm like, Andy, you got to win this weekend. Is that fair?
I think it's fair. I mean, if you look at just position and position, and you're trying to sort of say, who would you rather go into this game with, the Chiefs players or the Titans players, you might say the Chiefs. Now, does that mean they're the better team? Not necessarily, but they have better players. I mean, their offensive weapons are scary. Once you get to their fourth receiver, and
Sammy Watkins?
you're still talking about Sammy Watkins? Are you kidding me? Who's covering? Like, if you leave your big personnel on the field defensively, who the heck is covering Kelsey and Watkins? You have Mecole Hardman, you have Tyreek Hill. You are just loaded for bear. So personnel to personnel, it feels like the Chiefs have the advantage. But that's a damn good team on the other side of the ball now. The Titans are scary. And so I understand the thought process is this is a need-to-win game, and it may be for a legacy play, but Andy Reid has the hottest young quarterback and the best offense really anybody has in the NFL, and he's going to have him for a while. So if not this year, you may say then win. Well, maybe next year, because they're that good.
Yeah. All right, stick around. You picked the Titans over the Ravens. I'm going to ask for your two picks coming up. Lay it out there. We not that we rolled our eyes at you, Rich, but we did say he's drinking before he gets on the air. There's a problem. So we'll come back with your picks. That's coming up. Guys, a new year, especially one like 2020, deserves a new pair of Tacova boots. This is a remarkable company that does billfolds and duffel bags and leather products and belts and jeans. I was talking to Trent Dilfer the other day. He said he bought a pair of these. His wife liked them so much, she bought 12 pairs for the family. Listen, if you've never worn cowboy boots before, Tacova has the perfect pair, okay? You can take them to a business meeting. It's a classic style, handmade, high-quality, full-grain leathers. These are world-class boot makers. No shortcuts, no compromises ever. The styles are classic and handsome up any room. Also, free shipping, free returns if you have a problem, and they do exchanges. Makes it really easy. This is a great company out of Austin, Texas, with terrific leather goods, duffel bags, travel bags, belts, boots, billfolds, card cases, and more for all your new frontiers. Find your pair of Tacovas at tacovas.com/herd, Herd.